Welcome to Roofing Road Trips, the podcast that takes you on a thrilling journey across the world of roofing. From fascinating interviews with roofing experts to on-the-road adventures, we'll uncover the stories, innovations, and challenges that shape the rooftops over our heads. So fasten your seatbelts and join us as we embark on this exciting roofing road trip.
Hello and welcome to another Roofing Road Trips from Roofer's Coffee Shop. My name is Heidi Ellsworth, and today's podcast is so exciting because it's with up-and-comers, the next generation of roofing, the people who are making such a huge difference. And to me, that's the best. It is so exciting. And so I am so happy to welcome Sarah Sutton-Shouse from Raincoat Roofing to visit today. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, everybody.
Oh my gosh, Sarah, I've been watching you. We've known each other for quite a while. You have such an amazing career. You're with an amazing company. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company?
Sure. So I'm Sarah Sutton-Shouse. I am currently employed with Raincoat Roofing. I am the service manager as well as one of our leadership team members. And I've been in roofing. Actually, next month is going to be 6 years, believe it or not. And it's only been 6 years, and I feel like it's been a lifetime, believe it or not. So
sometimes those are dog years.
Yeah, there you go. And well, we've got a dog here too, so that's perfect.
There you go.
But yeah, I came in, I started as a service coordinator, which was when I started, was a role that Raincoat had not had previously. It had just been run by Eric and the rest of the sales team and office staff. And then I came on and it just kind of propelled really quickly because COVID happened not too long after that. And everything was kind of like, well, we've got to figure out how to be digital. We've got to figure out how to be out of the office. And I was really kind of able to take it and run with it. Raincoat's good like that, kind of just, they'll give you enough rope to hang you with, but they'll be there to help you along the way too, And they really did just kind of like let me make the department my own. We implemented a few procedures and changes to the field. We just built it up as we went and found a lot of good software, a lot of good processes, a lot of different programs and things that worked. And yeah, just kind of took off from there. And somebody told me one time, you don't find roofing, roofing finds you. And it's very much been that way. And I can't get enough of it. I was on a roof on Monday. I've got bids going out today. I'm working on scheduling. I'm doing all of the things. And if I wasn't so busy, my head was going to explode. I don't know what I would do with myself.
You'd be like, what's wrong? Something's not right. What's going on? I know. Well, you had a super exciting IRE 2025 while we were in San Antonio. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what happened?
So, fun fact is I didn't even know that I had been nominated until I got to National Women in Roofing Days that day. And one of my other board members from my council was like, hey, that's your face. And I'm like, that's my face. And I was just shocked, and I told Nicole Byrne, I was like, no heads up, no nothing. But, I was absolutely honored to be nominated. And that was, I was nominated last year and it ended up going to a fantastic woman who was more than deserving of it. So just to kind of like be the follow up to that and ride her coattails a little bit was pretty exciting. So I was just stunned. I don't even know what else to say. I was just stunned. I couldn't believe that I won. I couldn't believe that I had been nominated again. It was really great. And then I had almost my entire board there too. So it was just nice to be surrounded by all of my friends and all of my coworkers and my team and all of these women who've been building me up for so long, So yeah, it was crazy. It was very, very exciting.
Let's talk about that a little bit. So National Women in Roofing has two major awards. They have the World Award for veterans. I actually was so honored to be one of the first recipients of that in 2020. And then we have Rising Star Awards for leadership, advocacy, for everything. And that's what you won last year, a Rising Star Award. I would love for you to talk just a little bit because you and I, over the last 3 or 4 years, had really talked about you wanted a council in Chicago. And there had been some history with, how do we bring everybody together? How do we work with the associations and stuff like that? And I just thought you did such an amazing job of collaboration, of bringing everybody together and really putting the Chicago Council together. Tell us a little bit about that.
I really have to give credit to my board. I would love to take all of the credit, right? But you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And I have a really, really incredible board, and everybody who's with us, not just on the board now, but the leadership launch team, everybody wanted it and everybody was committed to it. And boy, let me tell you, it was a labor of love. It took a lot of work. There were a lot of different hurdles that we had to jump through. We had to make nice with the CRCA and CWIR, which are very, very big local contractors association here in Chicago. But not just that, we've got MRCA that's got quite the footprint and everything. So we wanted to go in with the intent of saying, hey, we want to join you. We don't want to take what you have. And I think that going in with the mentality of collaboration versus, hey, we're here now and you have to accept us was the approach I think that we all wanted, and definitely the approach that worked best. Getting involved with the CRCA, not just from the women in roofing side, but also the entire CRCA side, the leadership there, the executives, the board, just letting them know, like, hey, we're going to be pulling from the same audience, from the same group of people. Why don't we make it as worth their while as we can, and we teamed up with CWIR, which I'm also an active part of, and the rest of our board is as well. And we were like, hey, why don't we start doing joint events? Why don't we see what we can do to benefit each other? And that really was kind of a launching point for us. We had some growing pains. We had to get national involved a couple of times because we were just struggling with those few last things that couldn't get us past the point of, hey, we're an established council, we're doing great. And once we did, and that collaboration with the local contractors association really just cemented itself, and we have seen so much progress and we've seen so much just positivity come out of it and a lot of positive feedback. And not just that, but being able to bridge the gap for the surrounding areas. We didn't have National Women in Roofing in Chicago prior to us starting the council. But the same goes for Northwest Indiana. We have Southern Wisconsin, too, that we wanted to approach to make sure that we had as many members as we could have an outlet or have the ability to attend meetings or have events and, whatnot. And I think that we've really tried to listen to the council members, listen to everybody who's shown up to the events and given us feedback. And it's, just about doing what's right for the members we're serving. Because ultimately, it is a volunteer organization, but we're serving the members. So it's been a labor of love, and I have an immensely incredible board. Jen Grove, Jen Trepane, Heather Schmidt, Sandy, everybody, Meredith. I am so privileged to be able to work with women like that.
That is an amazing group. All stars right there. It is. Yeah. That's the kind of really seeing a need and stepping into it is what National Women in Roofing is all about. And really you doing that and then winning the Rising Star Award this year, which your board obviously nominated you for. That, wow. I was so happy. I was tearing when you got it. I was just like, yeah, this is so awesome. So,
it's very vindicating, right? You put all this hard work in and you do it because you want to. Nobody is coming to you and saying, here, you're getting paid for this, or here, you're getting this accolade or anything like that. You do it because you want to. And for to have won that award, it was very fulfilling. It felt like, oh my gosh, this is working. Everything that we've put in is being returned. And it felt very good to, like I said, just be there surrounded by my friends and my peers and be able to celebrate that moment and know that the work that was being put in was being recognized.
Yeah, that is so awesome. That is so awesome. So Raincoat Roofing also had another major accomplishment at IRE. And what was that?
So Angel Arroyo, our production superintendent, won the MVP award, which was incredible. Let's be very serious. It was so astounding to find out that he had won that award. And the nomination process was time consuming, right? And we had to talk to his family. We had to talk to past people he's worked with. We had to talk to current people he's worked with. And, I almost had to pick and choose what we were going to submit because everybody had such incredible things to say about him. And it was it was really awesome because I was actually the one who submitted his nomination. And to get the opportunity to hear from his friends, to get to hear from people who have been in the NRCA for decades, to hear the incredible things they said about him it was really fulfilling for me. I get to work with him. So I see him every day. I see him at our work events, on the jobs and things like that. So of course I know him from that level, but once I got to hear what his daughters and his wife had to say about him and all of the things you just don't know that a person does, it was, well deserved. I couldn't, I'm biased, right? But I couldn't imagine a more deserving candidate for that award. And what an honor to have won his and mine back to back. Raincoat was on a high for a while.
I know. I saw Eric. He was just walking on cloud nine. He was like, look at this. It was so exciting for the company overall. Eric being one of the owners. I'm going to say owners, but yeah, at Raincoat. But it's funny, Sarah, because last night I was actually working on an article about Angel, because as we're getting ready to get nominations for the MVP awards coming into the next year, we're celebrating the contractors we have now and saying, hey, nominate, you have someone like Angel, although it sounds like maybe they don't, because that's pretty special.
Well, let me just say this for everybody listening. He is mine and you cannot have him.
Okay. I love it. I love it. That is, you got to be careful out there, but actually, he loves it. And you guys just have such great culture in the company overall. And I think, people always talk about recruitment and retention, but really when it comes down to it, retention is about culture.
Yes. And culture has been a big focus at Raincoat for the past few years in particular. We had some change of the guard when we moved into a new building, and within that move, we shifted some positions around and things like that. And when we came together, we were merging two different companies with two different staffs and everything like that. So we wanted to make sure that everybody was being given the same opportunities, that everybody had the space they needed and whatnot. So when I say culture has been a big focus of Raincoat, I mean, it has been a huge focus. We have core values that dictate everything we do in our business, from the culture, from the processes, from, the people that we're even willing to work with, and I think that we have a really good culture here at Raincoat now. We've got some really great women in here. We've got a lot of new blood. And talking about that new generation, we're trying to bring that new generation into Raincoat too, because we've got a lot of old dogs here, no offense. But we've got a lot of old timers here, and they've got a lot of skill and a lot of know-how to share. But if we don't bring the new generation in, we don't have anybody for them to share it with. So we're in that kind of transition phase, but it's really just come to fruition for Raincoat to see the people working well, the culture working well, the processes, the jobs. So culture is very important, and it definitely sets the tone for how the rest of the business operates.
Right. And I think it also sets the tone for these opportunities of winning these kind of awards, because like you said, your core values are across. Everybody knows where you're at and what's going on. I do want to make sure that we mention that Angel also won Best of the Best award, which is the highest honor for the MVP. So you have basically three winners, and sometimes they'll have some honorable mentions, but to be best of the best, you get to have an article in Professional Roofing, which had to be kind of exciting for you all.
That was really, really fun when Krista came in and she was doing the interviews and things like that. It was really, really fun to see kind of how everybody spoke about Angel after the fact, right? Because at that point, we knew that he had won. So just to see the excitement on everybody's faces, to see all of these, we were throwing stories around in the office trying to figure out which one we wanted to tell or which one would be the best thing to present to, the masses. So he is just the best of the best in every way. It's a really great opportunity to have him here to pick off of and learn from.
Yeah, that is so cool. So I want to kind of go back and talk a little bit, and you started it here with the core values, talking about that and bringing it together, but you also have a really strong mentorship program.
We do. So all of our technicians in the field for the service side in particular go out, in a 2-man crew. So it starts there, right? And it's something that we train from within, we try to bring up from within, and we try to promote from within. And that starts from the bottom up. Obviously, I came in, started as a service coordinator, and Eric has nurtured and mentored me in the best way. He's given me every opportunity I can ask for, and he's given me the freedom to go out and attend NWIR days and IRE and meet people like you. And that is across the board. Everybody here has the opportunity to take the additional education, to take the trips, to get their face out there and make those connections. But again, we're teaching from within. My coordinator, I'm bringing her up. We've got a social media director now too. And, it's just trying to give them a little piece of everything you do, and that's what mentorship is, right? Like you're helping them get to where they're going, but you don't do that without giving pieces away, right? So it's everything Raincoat does is to teach somebody else something, everything.
See that I just think that's so important, and also to kind of get out of people's way. But like you said this at the very beginning, like they give you enough rope, but they're there along the way, right? And I think that's so important. So let's talk just a little bit about empowering women in roofing. And you've been doing this through your council, through obviously in your company. How important is that? And Raincoat's commitment really to advancing women. I mean, like Eric working with you now bringing in more women. Talk to us a little bit more about that and how important that is for the future of roofing.
I think it's crucial, right? So as we see more and more like men leaving the workforce and women coming into the workforce as a whole, it's definitely a big economic driver. And I think anybody would agree, like women are good with the details, right? So they're good with the planning, the scheduling, the coordinating, invoicing, paperwork, things like that. But they're also really good with those details on the roof. So as we get more women in the office, now we start to branch out and try to get more women on the roof, make things a little bit easier for them. You're definitely seeing more women's working gear, women's apparel out there. And also too, just having the opportunity to be put in the space with women who are capable of doing those jobs. Have you ever seen a woman sling a bundle of shingles? Holy, like I want to see that all the time. Like whoever that is, you are awesome and you are bad. Like that's the type of thing we want to see. And I think as we get into more of the women workforce, we're seeing they're taking on those more difficult jobs. They're being given those bigger opportunities and they're flourishing. So on the Raincoat side, I think that we have, and I'm still on the hunt for a female crew, let me tell you. That would be just my dream, right? Is to have a crew on a roof. It's not a really big market in Chicago, but we're on the hunt, right? But again, we brought in our coordinator, Sandy. We've got a couple of other females in the office who have been coming up and learning. And the best thing that we can do is give them the opportunity to have the opportunity, right? Because I was able to take the Clemson course and the University of Wisconsin course and things like that. And those are time consuming and costly. Raincoat's like, do it, because ultimately that's going to benefit them. And Raincoat is very much of the mindset, if we invest in you, you're going to give more back to us. And we take that focus really seriously, especially with women. And luckily, I'm in a position to be that driving force. I am always looking for women organizations to support, women organizations that we can go and send people out to mentor. We've been working on getting into a couple of schools so that we could talk to young women about working in the trade. Pick up a hammer, pick up a tool, anything like that. I think that there's that misconception that women are maybe less capable in those departments than men are. And if we can show them that, hey, you can 100% do this. There's no reason you can't do this. Here's the tool, here's the know-how, and we will show you and teach you. That's what Raincoat is all about. And being able to say, there is nothing that we are not willing to work on you with, to teach you, to give you the opportunity to do, because ultimately the more we invest in those women, the more those women can give back to us, not just personally, but as a company as well.
Yeah. It is so true. And when you think about Chicago, it's a melting pot, right? Like the U.S. is overall. And that's one of the things I also love about Raincoat is just the diversity of your company and embracing that diversity. I know diversity has gotten different names going on, but we believe in it, and it's part of the National Women in Roofing and bringing all different folks in. That to me is really whether they're men or women, no matter,
Because you need those allies, right? You need
yes.
those male allies. And
Yeah.
and I've said this to everybody. I am woman and hear me roar, but I'm never going to turn down something that a man has taught me. If I'm being given an opportunity, I feel like as a women organization, we have to include that diversity, right? Because we are a marginalized group just by nature, right? But if we shut out the other half of that, we're losing half of the opportunity, half of the education, half of the understanding, half of the skill, right? So being a woman in my position, I think is just as important to understand that you cannot do it without both sides, right? We're going to bring those women up. We're going to build them up. We're going to give them the training. We're going to give them the skill. We're going to give them everything they need to do their job. But remember that there's nothing that comes without the flip side. And that flip side is knowing that we have male allies, both in the business and personally, who are backing us up, who are supporting us, who are kicking us out the door and saying, go, go, do, be, So that's very important to have those male allies as well and understand that our diversity isn't solely stuck on we are women. Our diversity is the different personalities and the different skill sets and the different abilities that everybody has that they could bring to the table, and knowing when to say, come on in, instead of saying, I don't need your help. You know what I mean? So it's just being able to recognize that as an opportunity versus pump the brakes, I'm not interested. You know what I mean?
That opportunity. And I think about the fact when you look at the awards that you won, one with National Women in Roofing and then Angel with the MVP with the Roofing Alliance. And I think about the strength of our Hispanic culture within roofing. Again, that diversity only makes us richer. And look at Angel winning Best of the Best. To me, that just, it kind of gives me a little bit of chills because I'm just like, it's so cool what you guys are really showing. You're really showing the full picture of roofing respect in your company.
And it's nobody does this because they're better at something else, right? I think that everybody's in roofing because it's where they want to be. It's where they fell, it's where they landed, and it's the place that fit the best. And it's absolutely been that way for me. And I think that Angel would probably agree and be able to articulate that roofing it's not just roofing, right? We're not just getting on a roof or putting a roof down or making repairs. It's the people that come with it. It's the families that we bring in. And Raincoat, if there is ever a family company, it's Raincoat. I mean, we've got Eric's son in here. My stepdaughter was here last week. We are so family focused, and there's nothing we wouldn't do for our employees or their families. And it's really, really great to have that sort of mentality and that approach.
Yeah. I think that is so cool. It's innovative, it's progressive, but it's also traditional, and it's celebrating the culture of all different types of cultures and bringing them together into this great company. So going forward, looking to the future, I'm just really curious, Sarah. I mean, when I think about you seeing that, hey, we need a council here in Chicago, and just going out and doing it with your superstar lady friends, right? In roofing, women in roofing, and taking the time, honestly, to celebrate your employees and nominate them for the MVP. That takes time. All of that, all the nominations, putting everything together. What do you see going forward? What are some, you told me earlier, you said we're really looking at the next generation, hiring young people, bringing them in. What are some of the things that you see as really critical to the success of the roofing industry looking ahead?
I think the big focus needs to be that the work in the trades is never going to go anywhere, right? Like, we're always going to need roofs. We're always going to need plumbing. We're always going to need electricity. And if we can put a big push and focus into the trades, whatever the trade is, right? Because not everybody's going to get on a roof, but not everybody's going to crawl underneath the toilet, right?
Right.
if we could just get as many people, I think that is like the key focus, right? Is to get everybody to know that the trades are where the work is at. You've got people who want to be influencers. We've got people who want to be stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads, things like that. But I don't think people realize just how important the trades really, really are to the economy, to everything that goes, right? So in my mind, the big push is going to be getting out to those younger generations and starting as young as we can go, right? So if we can get into junior highs, if we can get into early high school years and show them all of the different opportunities, right? Because it's not just getting on a roof. There's marketing, there's accounting, there's HR. I mean, there's any number of things within any trade that will get you to a place where you can succeed. And I think as long as we can show people the opportunity that comes from working in the trades, I think that we'll see a lot more people coming into the trade. And that is where our focus is at, is trying to bring not just women, but young people in so that we can continue that know-how. Because like anything, if you don't have somebody to teach it to, it dies off, right? And I think that that's something that we're seeing in our world right now, is some of those older sort of mentalities or skill sets are dying off because there's just not anybody there to learn them. So if we can push and we can get younger men and women in, I think that we'll really see like a boom in construction in general and the trades. And, I'm such a proponent for the trades. It's where everything is at and where everything will continue to be in my mind.
I agree with you totally, Sarah. The trades are the foundation of our society. The more people we can get in. And I also think as we bring in this next generation, they're also going to bring they're going to be much more open to technology and to new ways of doing things. As we know, AI, robotics, all of these things are going to have a huge effect on the trades. And so having younger people who kind of think that way and can mentor up, train us, not you, but me, older people. And I think all of that, you're right there. And to me, it's so special to watch Raincoat and what you're all doing.
Well, that means the world to me. Raincoat's my home. I've never felt more at home at a company than I have at Raincoat. And I've certainly never had so many people who are right there, like rooting for me every step of the way. There's not a single bad thing I could say about anybody at the company. And I truly do value everybody that I work with. It's an honor to be able to work here with the people that, we're with, and then be given the opportunity to bring in that next generation, right? And build up that adaptability we have to kind of roll with the punches of the economy. So,
yeah, I love it. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you so much, Heidi. And I'm so glad that you got to be there to see it.
I know.
It was really, really amazing to know that I was in a room surrounded by friends and peers. Like what better way to win an award, right, than around the people who've gotten you to that point?
Exactly. And so let's just say right now, for any women who are listening to this, or men, National Women in Roofing Days is always the day or two before IRE, the International Roofing Expo. You can find all the information on nationalwomeninroofing.org. Please attend. It is one of the most inspirational days of the year, and if not the most inspirational day of the year.
Absolutely. I think next year it's the Saturday and Sunday before IRE, so you don't even need to miss work.
You don't have to miss work, and it's going to be our 10-year, believe it or not, our 10-year celebration from when we started.
That's so crazy.
I know. So I can't believe it's been 10 years. So yes, and also I'm going to say to everybody else, let's keep going on this train. Go to roofingalliance.net and nominate your folks like Angel, like Sarah, for the MVP awards. Those are also giving out the last night of IRE, and I was there to watch that too. Very, very special. So Sarah, thank you so much for being here today. I can't tell you, it's just been perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. It's always nice chatting with you. Always.
I love spending our time. This is the way, this is what you want to do. Let me tell you right here, these kind of conversations, the best. So thank you all for joining this roofing road trip and learning. Please check out the Raincoat Roofing directory on our club. You can find it right there on Roofers Coffee Shop. Also check out the Roofing Alliance for the MVP Awards and National Women in Roofing for the Rising Star and the World Awards, all on the directories of Roofers Coffee Shop. We also be sure to check out all of our podcasts under our RLW, Read, Listen, Watch Navigation, or on your favorite podcast channel. Be sure to subscribe and set those notifications so you don't miss a single episode. We'll be seeing you next time on Roofing Road Trips.
If you've enjoyed the ride, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us on every roofing adventure. Make sure to visit rooferscoffeeshop.com to learn more. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next roofing road trip.